Marvel vs. DC, the greatest rivalry in modern mythology, heroes, villains, and stories that have defined generations. But here's the twist. Many of these icons aren't as original as you think. Behind the logos and billion-dollar movies lies a secret history of creative borrowing. Today, we're putting Marvel and DC's biggest character copycats on trial and asking the ultimate question: who did it better, the original or the copy? We're putting these characters on trial, and our number one piece of evidence is one simple, undeniable fact: the first appearance date. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with maybe the most infamous and self-aware copycat case of all time: Deadpool and Deathstroke. DC's Deathstroke the Terminator first hit the scene in the new Teen Titans #2 back in December of 1980. His name is Slade Wilson. He's a deadly super soldier mercenary with enhanced strength, agility, and a healing factor. A tactical genius and master assassin, he's one of the most feared individuals in the DC universe. Now, flash forward to 1991 in New Mutants #98. Marvel introduces a deadly mercenary with enhanced strength, agility, and a healing factor. His name? Wade Wilson. The creators, Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld, have freely admitted that Deadpool started as a flat-out parody of Deathstroke. They were huge fans of the Teen Titans and just couldn't help themselves. But this is where the story gets really good. While Deathstroke stayed a stone-cold serious villain, Deadpool evolved. Marvel leaned hard into the joke, shattering the fourth wall and turning Wade Wilson into the chimichanga-loving, pop-culture-spewing anti-hero we know today. His defining trait became the fact that he knows he's in a comic book. So, who did it better? Deathstroke is the original, a truly awesome villain. But Deadpool's journey from a simple knockoff to a global pop culture phenomenon is just undeniable. For sheer impact and for forging a completely unique identity, the win has to go to the copycat. Deadpool didn't just copy, he innovated. Next up, a clash of cosmic tyrants: Marvel's Thanos against DC's Darkseid. This is one of the big ones. Darkseid, the monstrous ruler of the planet Apocalypse, made his first real appearance in Forever People #1 in February 1971. He is basically a god of evil, obsessed with wiping out all free will by discovering the anti-life equation. Just 2 years later, in February 1973, writer-artist Jim Starlin introduced Thanos of Titan in the Invincible Iron Man #55. Thanos is a warlord obsessed with courting death, universal power, and eventually the Infinity Stones. Starlin has been very open that he was massively inspired by Jack Kirby's New Gods saga and that his initial instruction was basically to go create a Darkseid-type character. The similarities are obvious. Both are giant, god-level alien despots with huge armies who pose an existential threat to everything. They are the final bosses of their universes. Their motives, however, are different. Darkseid wants total control, the subjugation of all life. Thanos, in his most famous story, wants to bring balance to the universe by snapping away half of all life, a goal he sees as a terrible necessity. Who did it better? Darkseid is the OG cosmic horror, an immovable force of evil. But Thanos, thanks largely to his starring role in the MCU, has become a household name. A far more complex and, you could almost argue, sympathetic villain in the public eye. For cultural impact and nuanced storytelling, the copycat Thanos takes another win. Let's bring things back down to earth for a minute with two street-level heroes who favor a bow and arrow over godlike powers: Green Arrow and Hawkeye. DC's Green Arrow, the Emerald Archer himself, Oliver Queen, first appeared with his sidekick Speedy in More Fun Comics #73 way back in November 1941. He was a billionaire playboy using trick arrows to fight crime, heavily inspired by Robin Hood and, let's be real, Batman. More than 2 decades later, in September 1964, Marvel gave us Hawkeye, Clint Barton, in Tales of Suspense #57. He actually started out as a villain, manipulated by Black Widow, before he came to his senses and became a core member of the Avengers. Like Green Arrow, he's a regular guy who has perfected the art of archery, and he often feels like the odd one out on a team of gods and monsters. Both guys are defined by their incredible skill, their sharp wit, and their often left-leaning politics. They're the conscience of their teams, the human anchor that reminds everyone what they're fighting for. So, who wins? This one is tough. Green Arrow has the legacy and a more developed solo identity, with a rich comic history and a hit TV show. Hawkeye, on the other hand, is a global icon as a founding member of the Cinematic Avengers. It's nearly a tie, but for being the clear original and having a more established standalone story, we have to give the win to DC's Green Arrow. From the city streets, we're plunging into the ocean depths to look at two hot-headed aquatic kings, Namor, the Submariner, and Aquaman. Now, this is where the timeline gets really interesting. Marvel's Namor the Submariner was actually first, debuting in Marvel Comics #1 way back in October 1939. He was one of the company's very first characters, before it was even called Marvel. He's the half-human, half-Atlantean king of Atlantis, known for his super strength, the ability to fly, and a massive chip on his shoulder against the surface world. 2 years later, in November 1941, DC introduced Aquaman, Arthur Curry, in More Fun Comics #73. He is the half-human, half-Atlantean ruler of Atlantis, known for super strength and the ability to talk to fish. So, while Aquaman is definitely more famous to the general public, Namor is the original. The core idea is identical: underwater kings torn between their two homes. The biggest difference is their personality. Aquaman is usually a stoic, noble hero. Namor is an anti-hero to his core, arrogant, aggressive, and fiercely protective of his kingdom, ready to fight anyone, hero or villain, who threatens it. Who did it better? Aquaman is a pop culture icon and a founder of the Justice League. But Namor's complexity and his unique status as a character who would later be retconned as Marvel's first mutant gives him a fascinating edge. In this case, the original Namor is arguably the more groundbreaking character, even if his counterpart swam into the mainstream more effectively. Let's talk about the ultimate cat burglars, DC's Catwoman and Marvel's Black Cat. Selina Kyle Catwoman first prowled into Gotham City in Batman #1 back in the spring of 1940. She started as a jewel thief with a flair for the dramatic, but quickly grew into one of the most complex anti-heroines in all of comics, serving as both a villain and a complicated love interest for Batman. Almost 40 years later, in July 1979, Marvel introduced Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, in The Amazing Spider-Man #194. She's a world-class cat burglar with a bad luck power and a very complicated romantic history with a certain friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The parallels are pretty hard to miss. Both are agile, cunning thieves with a cat theme, flexible morals, and a love-hate relationship with the biggest hero in their company. They walk that razor's edge between good and evil, helping out one minute and looking out for themselves the next. Who did it better? Black Cat is a fantastic character and a perfect foil for Spider-Man, but Catwoman is simply iconic. She debuted in one of the most important comic books ever made and has been a cultural force for over 80 years. She is the blueprint for the feline femme fatale. The point has to go to the original Catwoman. Now for a controversial one, the caped vigilantes who own the night. Batman vs. Moon Knight. Bruce Wayne the Batman needs no introduction. He first appeared in Detective Comics #27 in May 1939, a billionaire who uses his fortune, genius mind, and peak human body to wage a war on crime, all driven by the murder of his parents. He is the ultimate dark, street-level hero. Then, in August 1975, Marvel gave us Moon Knight in Werewolf by Night #32. Mark Spector is a mercenary left for dead and resurrected by the Egyptian moon god Khonshu to act as his fist of vengeance. He uses multiple identities and a vast fortune to fight crime as a brutal vigilante. It's an easy comparison: rich guy by day, terrifying gadget-wielding vigilante by night. It's easy to dismiss Moon Knight as just Marvel's Batman, but that's selling him way short. The key difference is Moon Knight's fractured mind and his very real connection to a supernatural god. His struggle with dissociative identity disorder makes his story a psychological journey in a way Batman's rarely is. Who did it better? Look, Batman is a global icon. He's one of the most recognizable fictional characters on Earth. You can't compete with that legacy. But Moon Knight took that archetype and layered it with psychological and mythological complexity that makes him one of Marvel's most compelling heroes. While Batman wins on sheer influence, Moon Knight deserves massive credit for being a fascinating evolution of the idea. But for this list, the originator, Batman, takes the point. From the dark streets, let's journey to the mystical planes and compare the master magicians, Dr. Fate and Dr. Strange. DC's Dr. Fate first showed up in More Fun Comics #55 in May 1940, when archaeologist Kent Nelson opens the tomb of an ancient wizard named Nabu. He's trained in magic and becomes the sorcerer Dr. Fate, a hero powered by Nabu through his helmet. Fast forward to July 1963, when Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created Doctor Strange for Strange Tales #110. Dr. Stephen Strange was a brilliant, arrogant surgeon who lost the use of his hands in a car crash. Searching for a cure, he finds the Ancient One and eventually becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, Earth's main defender against magical threats. Both are the top magic users in their universe. Both wear an iconic helmet or amulet and a cloak of levitation. Both operate out of a magical headquarters hidden in plain sight. The similarities are all there. Who did it better? Dr. Fate is a Golden Age classic, a pillar of the Justice Society. But Doctor Strange completely redefined magic in comics. Steve Ditko's surreal, psychedelic art created a visual language for the mystical that had never been seen before, and has influenced artists ever since. For pure innovation and for becoming the definitive comic book magician, the win goes to the copycat, Doctor Strange. So, what's the takeaway from all this? What's fascinating isn't just who copied who, but how often the copy evolved into something new, and sometimes even more popular than the original. Deadpool's parody became a fourth-wall-breaking sensation. Thanos' cosmic evil was given a tragic philosophical twist that captivated the world. This creative back-and-forth, this constant one-upmanship, is the secret engine of the Marvel-DC rivalry. It has pushed creators to take a familiar idea and spin it into something fresh. It has made both universes richer, creating a complex web of inspiration that gave us a better, more diverse family of heroes and villains. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. In the world of comics, it's also the foundation for innovation. But that's our list. Which one of these pairs surprised you the most? And who do you think is the ultimate winner in the great copycat war? Let us know down in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into comic book lore, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.